Lots of people are confused about what the hearing with SAT is all about on the 21st of June 2024 and what is at stake for Growpital and the investors of Growpital in that hearing with the Securities Appellate Tribunal. In this video, I attempt to recap in brief what has led to the 21st June hearing with SAT and what can be the potential outcomes. So let's recap first. We already know that on the 29th of Jan 2024, SEBI passed an interim order declaring Growpital as an illegal CIS, which is a collective investment scheme, and froze its bank accounts. This immediately affected the business continuity of Growpital. Growpital followed up with SEBI in vain in the month of February 2024, after which Growpital invoked Rajasthan High Court with a writ petition in March of 2024. The idea was to clearly plead in the court that as time was getting lost, the losses were mounting in the farming business of Growpital due to freezing of the bank accounts. Rajasthan High Court gave an early hearing to Growpital and then asked it to invoke SAT. Here, credit must be given to the wisdom of the court that they recognized the real-time nature of the losses which Growpital was facing and therefore gave them an early hearing. And then credit to SAT because SAT swung into action soon too, and they passed an order on the 16th of April 2024. And why do I say credit to SAT? This is because if you look at the order, it recognized the main point that losses were mounting and therefore asked Growpital to expressly present a business continuity plan to SEBI on the 19th of April. That is what I call sensitivity towards the situation on ground. First priority should be to save the business, thereby saving the current investors, rather than strangling everybody and claiming a legal and a regulatory victory to save the system. Further, the order stated that the hearing would take place further on 21st of June 2024. Growpital presented the business continuity proposal on the 19th of April 2024 to SEBI, and hearing with SEBI took place on the 22nd and 23rd of April. On 26th of April, SEBI published the final order where the business plan was rejected and the stance on illegal CIS was maintained. And that's how the next critical date is the 21st of June 2024, which was pronounced as the hearing date by SAT in its order on the 16th of April 2024. Let's look at the SAT order from 16th April and review its points since it is a short one. The link to this order from SAT, which was passed on 16th of April, is present in the video description, and while you go through it, please do consider subscribing to my channel. So here is the order. Let's go through the points one by one. So here is the order from SAT, which was passed on the 16th of April 2024. Here the appellants are referred to as the Farm Silo Tech LLP and others, which means really Growpital, versus the respondent, which is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is SEBI. Let's go on and look at the order. It's a short one. There are really 6 points. The order goes on to mention who are the advocates and the lawyers that were present at the hearing. And then the order comes and mentions the 6 points. The first point really describes the background of the case where SEBI has declared Growpital as an illegal CIS and has frozen its bank accounts and so forth. So point number 1 is really the background of the case from the perspective of both the parties. The point number 2 is outlining why Growpital has sought an urgent interim relief, because they're facing huge amount of losses every day, because of the freezing of their bank accounts, how many partners are affected, how many investors are affected, how much is the total amount of money which is at stake, how much is the total land under cultivation, how many farm laborers are there, and so forth. So point number 2 effectively tells from Growpital's point of view why the interim relief should be granted. Point number 3, on the other hand, describes from SEBI's perspective why the interim order is valid and why an interim relief should not be granted, presumably because it's an illegal CIS and therefore affects the investors' future and the present ones. So that's point number 3. So once again, point number 1 describes the background. Point number 2 describes why interim relief should be granted to Growpital. Point number 3 describes why interim relief should not be granted to Growpital. Now, point number 4 is very, very important. And that's where SAT's wisdom comes into fore. Its jurisprudence comes into fore. And it says, having heard the learned counsel for both the parties, the appellants are directed to submit a draft proposal to the respondent, which is SEBI, and appellants are Growpital. So Growpital is directed to submit a draft proposal to SEBI latest by April 19, 2024. And here's the important part. With the objective of ensuring the running of day-to-day business of the appellants. And if such a proposal is submitted, then the whole time member will hear the appellants, which is Growpital, on the proposal submitted on April on the proposal, and the hearing would take place on April 22, 2024, and SEBI would pass orders on the proposal by 26, 2024. So this is a very, very important part of the order. Here SAT recognized that there's an urgent need to save the business, and therefore it expressly mentioned that a draft proposal should be filed by the appellant to the respondent, that is by Growpital to SEBI, with the objective of ensuring the day-to-day business of Growpital. And this was duly done by Growpital. And point number 5 is not really consequential because Growpital first went to Rajasthan High Court and then had to come to SAT, so there was a delay in filing of the appeal, and therefore SAT said, well, it's okay. And it was inconsequential. Now, point number 6 is very, very important, and this is the last point in the order. Here it says, the respondent, that is the SEBI, is directed to file a reply within 3 weeks from today, which means SEBI is directed to file a reply to this order within 3 weeks from today, which was 16th of April 2024. And the appellants, which is Growpital, are directed to file a rejoinder within 3 weeks thereafter. That is when SEBI files a reply to this order, within 3 weeks after that. And the matter would be listed for admission and for final disposal on the June 21st, 2024. However, as per Growpital, no reply has been filed by SEBI as per the directions of this order. Because if the reply would have been filed, it would have come to Growpital also. So according to Growpital, SEBI has not filed a reply as per the requirements of point number 6 in the order from the SAT. So what's the consequence of this? The consequence is that since SEBI has not filed a reply as per the directive of this order, Growpital has not got a chance to file a rejoinder to that reply. And therefore, Growpital has lost an opportunity to present its points to SAT upfront before the hearing on June 21st, 2024. And I think that is unfortunate, because now the hearing will directly take place without these replies and rejoinders on the June 21st, 2024, and this might delay the matter. So that's the order for you. So let's see now what could be the possible outcomes from the hearing which will take place with SAT on the 21st of June 2024. So I've outlined mainly 3 possibilities. Now, of course, there might be many more possibilities, permutations, combinations can be many. However, I've outlined 3 of them. The first one is that Growpital wins the business continuity decision from SAT, and based on presumable clarifications on its business plan presented to SEBI. However, its CIS status remains illegal. Now, in this possibility, there is a ray of hope for investors, because Growpital will have a chance to continue its business and therefore return back the capital eventually to the investors. Growpital will have to probably reorganize its business to conform to being a CIS, and may even have to pay a penalty for being an illegal CIS. But still, there's a ray of hope in this possibility for the investors to get back their original capital. Let's see what is the second possibility. The second possibility is that Growpital does not win the business continuity and also is declared an illegal CIS by SAT. Well, in this case, which is a bad case for investors, but in this case, the frozen money in the escrows would then most likely be directed to be distributed to the investors, and therefore we as investors will only get a fraction of money from our original capital. But we might get something in this case after the hearing. There's a third possibility, and that possibility is that further hearings are scheduled because maybe it's too much to decide just on a single hearing on 21st of June 2024, especially because there are no replies and rejoinders, which I was mentioning earlier. So in this case, investors will be stuck in a limbo with the proverbial tariq pe tariq, and eventually when the decision does come, the probability of falling back to possibility 2 will increase, which really means that we might just get a fraction of money back from the escrows. Worst part is that even if Growpital gets business continuity on the 21st of June 2024, it would probably be too late because probably there is no business left to continue. So what business continuity are we talking about over here? In that case, again, the fallback would be effectively the possibility 2. So all in all, looks like a bleak future for the investors of Growpital in this regulatory crackdown upon a business which was otherwise practically making the sounds of ka-ching before January of 2024.